I'm gonna go. You take you out and bring you back in.
Yeah.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we are here to another episode of a Facebook Live. Today we had another restaurant, my choice. We had a Starbucks here at Keystone and the Crossing. Just giving you a different flavor of what we can do here at Mac Capital Investment Group. Tonight we have a great show. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, with everything that's going on in the world, I often say the cavalry is not coming, the creek is rose, the levee is giving way. It's up to us to save us. So we're glad to have you. We got a great guest on the show tonight. We are guaranteed to be inspired with so much going on in our economy today, in the wars that's going on. We need a positive inspiration. And this individual, I knew for a long time when I was in college, this guy is an inspiration to all of us. So without any further ado, we're going to bring, Bruce Ford onto our show tonight. Like I said earlier, we got a great show talking about how we can be inspired, how can you come back from everything when everything is going wrong for you. What do you do when the whole world come crashing down on you and you have nowhere else to turn but to yourself? That person in the mirror, the person that you can't get away from. So tonight, like I said, with everything that's going on in the world, we need inspiration today. We need something that we can be excited about. We need something that can inspire us to be great. We need something that can transform the way we see things. Like I say, ladies and gentlemen, the cavalry's not coming. The creek is rose. The levee is giving way. It's up to us to save us. So without any further ado, he comes highly recommended, inspirational speaker, great guy. Been knowing him over the years. I always say Indiana State was the 80s HBCU. So once again, without any further ado, Bruce Ford, thank you for coming on to the show, being a part of what we're doing here today. Thank you. When I called him, he called me up and was just to thank me really for an episode that we had did previously. So I said, well, while y'all liking what I'm putting out, let me go ahead and swoop him in. Okay? So without any further ado, Bruce, tell us a little bit about your story. Don't go into detail about the inspiration piece yet. I'm not going to let you off the hook yet. But kind of let us know a little bit about you, a little bit about what you do, a little bit about what we're going to talk about tonight.
My name is Bruce Ford. I'm an actor. I'm a poet. I have a program called Words in Motion that's been in Warren Township schools. Now I'm at the Believe School. And like I said, I'm an actor in The Color Purple right now. We are on tour. This came from Chicago a weekend ago, and now we're in Indianapolis from the 14th to the 22nd, where I play the character of Paul.
Hold up, Bruce. You said you're in The Color Purple.
Yes, sir.
So you mean that you're in that book that Oprah Winfrey and all of them was in?
Yes, sir. I played Paul.
My goodness. Once again, so we got a national actor on the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Sir.
National actor on the ladies show, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir. I get to play the character Paul, man. I kind of flip the script a little bit from the good side to the bad side, just on stage.
So tell us, Bruce, how did you kind of land that job? How can somebody like myself come in and be a part of The Color Purple?
Well, let me tell you, it was kind of like this, Cepeda. You know how, when you're young and you get older, you have a bucket list. You know what I mean? And I wanted to get into this stage thing, and I wanted to kind of tighten up my chops. So I went and auditioned and at first it was Wiz. I did the Wiz first. Then I did Dreamgirls. Now I'm doing.
Hold up, stop, Bruce. Not only do you do Color Purple, you did one of another classic Dreamgirls.
Yeah, and I did the Wiz and Dreamgirls, so I played Marty and Dreamgirls. Man, I had to play a manager in that set, a tough nosed manager, and now I'm playing a hard kind of in Color Purple. You gotta have that person.
So you in Dreamgirls. I just want to make sure that my audience understand this because your story is kind of transforming. You're in Dreamgirls, you're in Color Purple, you're in the Wiz. Those are classics, man.
Yes,
Those
sir.
are classics. So you can't just get around in that.
No doubt, man. And you got to have a good people around you, man. When I auditioned against professional actors, right?
Uh-huh.
Said I betted on myself, man. I said, hey, I want to do this spoken word thing. I want to do motivational speaking. What better is to go on live stage, memorize lines, and bring it to the people every time? You know what I mean?
Okay, so Bruce, now let's give a backdrop of what you've done. We already see your accolades. We see that you have done. You've been very successful in these plays. People pay to come to see this, so that means that you're a professional, right?
Yes,
So,
sir.
Bruce, tell me this. Give us your backdrop story of how you got to where you're at. What made you start to acting? What was some of the downside? What made you look up and say, "Hey, I can do this"?
Well, man, I tell you what, I was married at one time. I wasn't the man I was called to be. I was always, I had the principles right, but I just didn't know how to get there. I used to tell people it's like if you're going to Chicago and you're telling folks I'm taking 65 south, you think you're going right because you're on 65. But you're really supposed to be going 65 north, but you heading toward Kentucky going 65 south. That was kind of like my way of life. I wanted to do well, but I didn't know the steps. And sometimes, Cepeda, you have to fall down and be at your lowest to get to the next level.
Okay.
After I went through divorce and was a single father with my child, I had to look up, man. I had to make some real tough decisions and some real tough lifestyle changes in order to be where I needed to be.
Well, so Bruce, tell me this. What was some of your? I know you say you went to Indiana State with me, right?
Yes, sir.
We kind of talked earlier. You was a college dropout, right?
Yeah.
Single father, divorce, had to raise your son by yourself. Traditionally, a lot of African American men don't take on that responsibility.
Yes, sir.
What made you say, "Hey, I gotta change"? What made you decide that you could change and change your platform of what you was doing?
Well, I tell you what, man, it wasn't all bad at one point. I was working at General Motors, right?
General Motors, okay?
We're working at General Motors. But I took a buyout because, man, don't get me wrong, I was making press parts for F-150 side panels. But I felt like I had a curriculum, felt like I had to offer the community. And I went ahead and took a buyout when they offered. And, man, I just took the chance to leave with something. I couldn't leave the job. I had to mind just the chaotic situations going on in life.
Wow. So you was at a dream job, really. Most
Yes.
people don't quit General Motors, right? Especially if you got some time. They're going through a strike right now, okay? Which
Yeah.
if that's what you want to call it. But I ain't never known people to be on a strike and then they still working. So that's a thing with itself.
So, it wasn't all good. There was in between that. I tell people you got a begin date when you're born and an ending date, right? You got that dash, right?
Uh-huh.
In between that money it was gone. I was homeless for a while. I was sleeping in my car. I was in an abandoned house with no heat and just electricity. My son had to stay at my mother's for a while. People don't know that back end story, but those situations that I went through is what helped me write the curriculum, helped me write the poetry for my shows. You see what I'm saying?
Wow. So
Yes,
so not only did Tyler Perry have to do that, we had somebody local who did that. So you said that you went from staying in your car, being homeless.
Yes,
you
sir.
said, "Hey, I want to be a dad." You're trying to accept your responsibilities, right?
Yes, sir.
What made you not give up? That's what we want to talk about tonight. What made you keep on saying that, "Hey, I can do this. I have a vision. I have a dream that this is not me." A lot of times we think that the situation that we're in, that's who we are,
Yes,
right?
sir.
You're saying that when I was in my car, when I was in an abandoned house, when I was at to send my son to my mother's, till I got myself together, that situation, I knew that wasn't me. To those brothers who are out here and sisters
Yes,
who
sir.
are out here at their bottom, right? At their bottom. Because we always talk about when we want to do our next, we want to do our best. We want to do everything when everything is good, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell me, what was your thought process and your mindset when you was at that low point?
Man, weird as it sounds, Cepeda, I never really I got disappointed, I got stressed, but I knew I left GM for a reason. I knew that I had something inside of me that needed to be birthed, man. So we always, when I talk to my kids, I always talk about an apple seed, man. And an apple seed has a whole tree, a whole forest in it. You know, people like apples, right? But apples, they have 4 seeds in them, right? And usually you throw the seeds away. When you throw those seeds away, man, you throwing away a whole tree, but you throwing away fruit, right? But I knew I was getting planted instead of buried. I knew there'd be some dark days, like, you know, a seed in the soil. I knew I had to grow up through enemies as far as insects and haters. You know, I knew that to get to the top, had to go through fertilizer, which is a whole bunch of mess. You know what I'm
saying? Okay.
But I had to peek through. You see what I'm saying? Because I knew the fruit was inside of me. Because if I ever got outside and peeked through, man, I didn't have to ask no other tree for its bark or no other trees for its leaf. I had that fruit inside me. I just had to cultivate myself in a way with putting God first, plus believing in my son and legacy, and knowing that the next day could be the next day to take me to the next level.
Wow. So that's important. That you said a key point, Bruce. You said that you had to allow yourself to get better. You know, you have to allow yourself. A lot of times we don't allow ourselves as men to really enhance or to even be inspired by going through the process, right?
Yes,
so was there a part of your home bringing, your parents that made you say, hey, I need to bet on myself. This is not me. There's a father figure or mother figure? Was that part in your life at all?
Hey man, I have to be honest. I was raised, my parents were married 63 years. And I had the blessing of seeing a man get up in the morning, 5 in the morning without an alarm clock every day. You know what I mean? And I knew he set a standard in the house, man. And back then, you know, parents really didn't talk to their kids. They showed by examples. And I'll never forget, man, one time my father came to me and he apologized to what kind of father he was coming up, you know, in my youth, right? And I remember what I said to him. I said, you know, it's hard to take a bath without hot water, and it's hard to read without light. You know what I mean? In other words, that was my thinking for him. But he proceeded to put the hard work ethic in me. So when I was going through that, knowing that I didn't have my son's mother to kind of compliment and help me the way my mother helped my father, I knew that seed that was planted in me by my father, I had to try to get that to my son. So what I couldn't give him in financial things coming up, I made sure I gave him my attention and my time.
Okay, so you just say, hey, I'm not going to allow myself to stay in this situation, and you considered it as a challenge to bet on yourself. Okay, what makes that message that you say so powerful to so many people and inspiration to so many people? Why do you think it resonates with us so much?
I'm gonna tell you why if you let me have this couple minutes for a second.
All right.
I was going through those stages. I wrote the poetry for my one-man show, which is The Audacity to Believe I'm Free, right? And I'm gonna do one verse that's gonna answer your question. You ready?
Okay.
At one time, Cepeda, I was unemployed and alone with no money to eat. Eviction notice on the door. No water and heat. Son's clothes was fitting snug, shoes was tight on feet. But I still was having dreams of putting lyrics to beat. Now I don't want to come and get it. I don't need this car. Have so far to go, but yet came so far. In the morning in the mirror, I asked Mr. Ford who you are while I'm trying to keep my focus and I'm raising the bar. Then crept deep into my mind that one day, pressure's only use is to refine in one day. I'm going to try to take all that is mine and climb up to the top of the mountain which others deem impossible. Obstacles get toppled through. And one day, these haters won't even bother you. And one day, I'm going to be in a place that no more will I lack because it ain't where you from, it's where you at, and I believe that. So I kept believing that, Cepeda. That's what kept me going, brother.
Wow. Did y'all just catch that harmony, that realistic part of what he said? He said that this was not him. He just gave us some poetry of a man who dropped out of college.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, we can't ask for a better role model than somebody who we can grab and touch and see today. This
Yes,
is
sir.
a young man who was in our school systems that wrote the curriculum for some of the major schools here in the city of Indianapolis. Dropout, homeless, no shoes to put on feet. But one of the things I'm beginning to see through Bruce, if you allow me to say this, is I'm beginning to see that one thing that's clear. He had character.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, so he didn't shuck his responsibilities. He didn't say, "Hey, this boy ain't mine." He's saying that regardless of what I'm going through, I got to keep on pressing. And
Yes,
that's what a lot of times where we give up, Bruce, is that I've seen a lot of times, even with my business here, there are people who are criticizing. You know, I was talking to an individual, on a group situation, and they was talking about everybody what they do, right? And,
yeah.
and when they got to me, they just said that I'm a good speaker.
Hey, man, they don't
Well,
know about your backstory.
no, they don't know that it takes a lot to do what I'm doing, and this is something that I do for free because I got tired of people talking about what we're not doing, and I chose to do something about it. And then a lot of times when you choose to make a choice, Bruce, that's when the enemies come out of the
Hey,
woodwork.
man, it's like,
As long as you ain't doing nothing, ain't nobody talking about you. But the
yes,
minute
sir.
that you start wanting to impact your community, the minute that I stopped doing some of the things that I was doing and put my time and energy and betting on myself, betting on my kids, betting on my family, betting on my two daughters,
Come
it
on,
comes
sir.
with a price. It comes with a price.
Yes,
And
sir.
and people don't realize that if you want to be great, I'm always reminded of the commercial. Everybody want to be like Mike, right?
Yeah.
But they don't want to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and be like Mike. they don't
Hey,
want they don't want to get cut and be like Mike. They don't want to put in the work and the ridicule and the scrutiny to be like Mike. They just want the image of Mike, but they don't want to put in the work that Mike had to put in to get to where he's at. Because, they often talk about how hard he worked, right? And how he just was tenacious in practice. He never
mm,
took a day off. So, there's a lot of times, Bruce, I kind of identify with you on that.
yeah,
When I started my business, right? A lot of people wasn't supportive. In fact, when I told one of my family members about it, the response was, "We don't have banks."
come on, man.
We don't have banks. What are you talking about buying a house at 27 years old, 26 years old from
Yeah,
ground up before the stock market crashed? So, there's always obstacles when you are trying to do something positive. But when
yeah.
you're doing something negative, they always want to pat you on the back. But when you're trying to do something positive, they always want to be the first to criticize. So,
Yeah, they kind of. I think it's fear, man. Fear of the unknown. And I guess you can agree with me on this, Cepeda. It's so ironic. These schools didn't pick up my poetry program just like that. You know how I got in my first school, Cepeda? It was East Ridge Elementary had an advertisement for a volunteer mentor. And when I heard the word volunteer, the word volunteer means free. So what I did is I took my program to them and said, look, I just can't mentor you. I can offer this program. And man, I did it free for a whole year. They gave me fourth grade boys. They start seeing the grades go up. They start seeing them more attentive. They start walking through the hallways with their heads up. They started being more respectful. And then it got back to the superintendent, and that's when they offered me a contract.
wow. So that's positive, Bruce. That's positive stuff. That's positive stuff. So let me ask you. So I got some questions out here. He
Yes,
says,
sir.
what was the lowest moment in your career? What was the lowest moment?
Man, it's amazing. Lowest moment, it I never put my head down, but the lowest moment was when I was living in my house, a rent house, a rent to lease that I had. There was no money. Um, I had there was no heat in the house. I had one room with electric heater, and it was plugged up with exposed wire, man. And when I go to the bathroom, all the water fixtures, all that was frozen out there, but it was warm in that room, and it was It was scary to sleep because it had that exposed wire. That was a real low moment. But that low moment is what produced the poetry and the program for my words in motion. All those low moments. Because sometimes, man, when you go through a low moment, you either get bitter or get better. So I started writing in my poetry about what I want to aspire to be. And it's so crazy as I started memorizing my own poetry in my spare time in that one room, that became my mantra, which I believe I started manifesting positive vibes and positive people around me. So that was a real low moment for me.
Okay. How did you pull yourself out of that low moment?
With belief, man. Really with belief. You know, you're gonna have down moments. I'm not gonna fool you, but you know, I kept a couple trophies around, man, and not a couple trophies for me to say, look at these trophies I got, but to remind me that I won before. If you can be reminded sometimes that you won before, old pictures, old situations, you know, past races, past games. I don't care if you reach back to high school, you won before, so it's in you to win again. So I had to pull back on old memories sometimes to help propel me forward. If I was driving a car, Cepeda, I would focus on the front window and the side windows and only glance at the rearview mirror. You know what I mean? And that's what I kind of did. I glanced at the rearview mirror, and the rearview mirror was some of my trophies, which kind of gave me the belief that I could win again.
Wow. So that's kind of what being betting on yourself is really all about. You know, it really
Yeah.
is just being in the position to where you can bet on yourself, and really just get to the point to where you know you can just see yourself doing things that other people
Yeah.
can't do. You know, you're always going to have your contractors. You're always going to have people that say, "Hey, you owe me for this or you owe me for that." But when do you actually sit down and look at and evaluate yourself and see yourself as being able to get over and to move on? Let me ask another question. What made you develop the curriculum for kids?
You know, man, you know, you go back and you say, you know, I was a college dropout, and I was
Uh huh.
a dropout not because I didn't have the smarts or the wisdom. Man, if I can be honest with you, I wasn't feeling what I was being taught. You
What?
know, I knew the word, huh?
You wasn't feeling what you was being taught.
No, man, I wasn't
You
feeling what
wasn't
I was
feeling
being.
what you was being taught.
Yeah, I was being taught some things, and no disrespect, man. You know, there's a difference between, and no disrespect to anyone who's been to school and graduate, but I noticed this in the school
Okay.
systems and places I've been around is there's a difference between managers and leadership. And sometimes schools teach you to be a good manager, which you can manage
Uh-huh.
different. But leadership, you know, I don't really know the definition, but I know it when I see it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Inspiring to something where when I was looking at society and looking at what young people needed, I started putting down and writing, being a mentor in different mentoring organizations. I started writing down what I felt like the needs were of young people. Because, you know, I wasn't sitting at a table talking about young folks. I was with the young folks. You know what I mean? So being a mentor, I kept hearing what they needed, hearing what they felt short of. Because today's generation, Cepeda, you can't just say it'll get right. I hope it get right. They want to know why it's gonna get right. They're gonna look you in your eyes and be like, why should I be this? Why should I go this way? And if you don't have any answers, you might lose that young person.
Okay. Okay. So not only did you was inspired by because you had character, right?
Yes, sir.
But what made you I see that you also inspired because you are able um to want to do the right thing, but you're going through a whole lot of hell,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Let's just
yeah.
be honest. But through that, you became a diamond. You became a diamond. You became some of value to these kids because they can relate to you. Because some of these kids might have been going through being homeless. Might have went to a home.
That we forget that fire purifies, man. Whenever you want
Wow,
purity out of something, you put fire to it. That's a principle. Now, facts might change, but principles never do. You know what I mean?
wow.
If you
So
want to get the dross and the excess impurities out of gold, you got to put fire under that thing. And then you see the purities come out. People don't even know how a pearl is made, man. Think about this. This is the principle. You have an oyster that makes a pearl, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, we think pearls are beautiful, right?
Yes.
But that oyster, man, that's sand getting into the oyster. He's irritated by that. So he keeps spinning. And as his irritation goes, he's building a pearl. That's how a pearl is made and produced. So we're all pearls out here, and we have to be able to go through our irritation type period to get to where we need to be. Our burning, our fiery hell to get refined.
Wow. So you went through the fire to get to where you are at now.
Oh, did I? Come on now.
Okay. So when you're actually doing these plays and things of that nature, right?
Yes,
you're
sir.
You're able to see that through the lens of what your personal falls were.
Yes, sir.
Oh man.
Yes, sir. Even on the past parts that I'm doing, man, even playing Paul, I realized I had a little Paul in me, and it needed to be refined. You know what I mean? And the one thing about stage is that I love what Katie Did Productions allows me to do. They allow me to play a character through my own eyes instead of playing it the way the movie had, done it. You know what I mean?
So in The Color Purple, what movie is that in?
Excuse me.
What movie is that in that you just referred to?
I was talking about The Color Purple. I played Paul, and that's a character that's in the people remember the movie, but as I do it on stage, I add a little bit of Bruce Ford and my pain and agony through Paul, because if you watch the movie, Paul was Ceely's stepdad, right? And he was aggressive, right? But some kind of way, man, when you get on stage and you're an actor and you embody that character, you can make the crowd feel the way you want them to feel. Now, I can still make you angry by the way I talk to Ceely, but the way that I speak with my inflections and different ways I act, you might have some feeling for me and wonder why I'm like I am. And that's really all of us, man. When somebody see you, Cepeda, go as hard as you go, they got to
I don't go that hard, Bruce. I don't go that hard.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're ready to finish this up, Bruce.
Yes, sir.
Tell me a little bit, Bruce. I got two more questions. Just what do you think we need to do to impact our youth?
I think we need to listen more, man, and understand that if you even take yourself back to your childhood or when you was in teenage years, man, we didn't remember every problem or every book assignment that a teacher gave us, right? But we remember how certain teachers treated you. The teachers that treated you with respect, love, and got on you, and they got on you with a smile, and they literally loved the hell out of you with love. Those are the teachers you remember. Those are the teachers that you put on your resume. And if you're not too far old enough to kind of reflect back, if we get through all the pains and frustrations of life, like that seed, man, like that seed has to be split to grow. If we get past our pains and go back to those childhood moments when we wanted people to talk to us a certain way, we just got to give people what we want given us.
I'm listening. So we need to get back to leading by an example instead of leading. There was an old saying: "Do as I say, not as I do."
Come on, man.
That's what it brought to my mind. We got to get back to leading our youth by an example, right?
You still got teachers remember that you love, man. If you think back and you know why you love them.
Wow. Well, that's kind of what I pride myself in having a relationship with my daughter, and one of the things that as you know, is that I talk to my daughters a lot, right?
Yes, sir.
And I always tell them that everybody is not going to like you. There's going to be people that is going to say things about you that's going to pat you on the back, one day, and then turn around and stab you with another,
Yes.
But one of the things that you always got to be is that you always got to be true to who you are. You always got to be true to who you are. You always got to know what you bring to the table and what you don't bring to the table. And a lot of times with our youth, we don't do that a lot. We content with just doing what we want to do, you know.
Yes.
And so, Bruce, I appreciate your story about how you transformed yourself, and guess who was watching that transformation?
Hey, my son.
Yeah. Your son who went to the same product, who came to the same thing that you do. And
Yes, sir.
so one of the things that I pride myself in is always trying to do the right thing, Bruce, all the time. Now, do we do the right thing? No. But we always try to do the right
Yes,
thing all the time.
yes, sir.
So we can applaud that. For so many bad dads, black, white, green, or orange, we still have the good dads out here that put the best foot forward. Challenge. Not only did you bless your kid, but you created a curriculum for all kids.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
so that's inspirational, from a dropout to betting on yourself to being able to stand on what you believe in.
yes, sir.
That is absolutely what we need to be doing going forward. Bruce, kind of tell me, what are some of the things that you're going to be doing in the future? What do you see yourself in the future?
Well, man, I just finished, wrote 2 books. I wrote a book called Audacity to Believe I'm Free. It's a motivational book talking about some of the principles that I have in my Words in Motion program. And I was challenged by some comrades and some professors at Indiana Wesleyan. They looked at my curriculum. They said, can you make a business version of it? I just finished a book called Expansion Mentality, which I hope to be doing some motivational business coaching through it. If you took your business and made it a living person, hey, what would you want it to be? Would you want it to just be a soulless, money making industry, or would you want it to be a compassionate person if you with your business? And I think right now, this day and age, especially after COVID, we need to be more in touch with the passionate way of business toward its growth, and that can help build more business.
Okay, so once again, ladies and gentlemen, he's teaching us that we can get involved in the community. We can embrace our failures. We can embrace our pain. We can embrace our setbacks, and we can use that as opportunities to grow and to be better and to overcome. It's not always given that you always gonna have a bed of roses. I always tell people, you know what, you're not gonna always win. But one of the things that you got to learn is how to win.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of times we don't know how to win because we think that winning, one, we think is unattainable. And then two, we don't want to do the work to win, right? And a
Yes,
part of doing the work to win is going through that process of pain and suffering and starting all over. I always tell people when I was teaching this a couple weeks ago, to some leaders, is if you fall backwards, it's a sit up. You're gonna do some stomach crunches.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
But if you fall forward, you're gonna do some push-ups.
Yes,
Either
sir.
way you go, don't just stand there. Fall forward or fall backwards so that you can get going, get back up, and get started on where you need to be. It's not always given that you're always going to be given a spoon. Sometimes you just got to go through some things in order to get to where you're at. And Bruce, that's why we celebrate you. You could have quit when you was in that home by yourself. You decided this person that I am today is not the person that I'm going to be tomorrow. And that's
Yeah,
what we got to
yeah.
tell our youth. You might be a drug dealer today, but you can be an accountant tomorrow. You can
Yes,
be in
sir.
prison today, but you can be an attorney tomorrow. We don't always have to stay where we're at. We can
No,
get better and motivate ourselves to grow from where we're at.
yes,
And
sir.
so that's the message that that's what made you so powerful, Bruce. That's why I was so glad that you called me, because I knew you had went through some things. I knew that you pulled yourself, as the young people say, we pulled it out of the mud, right?
Yes,
We pulled it up out of the mud. And because we pulled it up out of the mud, we have that mud that's still behind us,
yeah.
right? But that's not what's in front of us.
Come
We
on,
got
man.
some better days in front of us. And so with everything that's going on around us, Bruce, with the people saying we're in recession, jobs, we're working 40 hours a week, but it can't pay the bills. We got so much that is going on around us, right?
Yeah.
We got to find some type of inspiration. And Bruce, you are a bright light in our community, and we celebrate you. You know, we like to give our roses. You know, I say that you in this, you in this one fraternity that is opposite of mine, and so we want to make sure that we understand that you know what you should be doing.
Yes, sir.
So we went to Indiana State University together, and one of the things I can always say, Bruce, is that you always operated in character. And
Yeah.
so, I've brought a lot of people that went to Indiana State on the show, right? And they have always exemplified greatness. And we didn't realize when we was on the University of
Yeah.
Indiana State that we would be doing what we're doing today. And Bruce, I celebrate you because I never knew that you was homeless. A lot of times we think that people are doing well, and they're going through pure hell. And so today, I want to take out the time for sharing your story, Bruce, and making yourself an open book, not only to me but to the world. You
Oh,
know,
no.
and a lot of times, we like to talk about the positive things we do, but we don't even never mention when we sometimes go through things.
Yeah. I
So
always kept a
we
smile
want
when
to give
you
you your flowers. We want to give you your flowers now.
Hey, man, your flowers too, because you had told me some things before, man. And I remember having a conversation with you when you was 21, 20 years old. We always used to meet up and walk to Cromwell together and have conversation. You used to have your hat tilted to the side back there. I remember that. You know what I mean? And you had a little more hair on your head, man. But
Oh yeah, balled out, man.
hey, let me tell you, that's why I believe in reaching young folks, man. Because see, just like I told you before, I didn't know that I knew it was something about you. I didn't know it was great leadership back then. You know what I mean? But I'm seeing it now. What about that young person that talking to that young guy in school now? He don't know that might be a business partner 20 years from now. You know what I'm saying? But it's gonna take people to pull out them. Because if we see a lot of anger in these young folks, all anger is passion. And if you find that for something that
Okay, so Bruce, once again, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it straight from the horse's mouth. Bruce said it. You don't have to start. You don't have to finish where you started. You might go through some things. You might have been failing. You might have thought that you couldn't make it. I'm here to tell you that you can do it. You don't have to finish where you started. There is a positive place for you. If you don't know, you can call Bruce. He's a motivational speaker. He's a life coach. He's also a writer. When did y'all next play with the Color Purple?
October 14th through the 22nd. It's at the Antoneum Theater. That's 401 East Michigan Street, Indianapolis, Indiana. And we're doing a total of 6 shows. We're doing 3 this weekend and 3 the next weekend. And then Color Purple is over.
All right. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to go see one of the people that was on my show tonight, inbox me. I can get you some tickets. I can tell Bruce about it. We can get you some tickets. Let's come out. Let's support. Let's show him that we support him. Because remember, if we don't get behind this brother, who we gonna get behind? Bruce have always been an encouragement. The Color Purple is a movie that we all like to see. If you're not doing nothing this weekend, let's go out and support. Let's come out in full effect and tell him that Cepeda Jackson sent you and tell him that you heard about us on the Generational Wealth Show. Because guess what? As we support one another, right? Guess what? We can also say, hey, Bruce, I applaud you for pulling yourself out because you never know. That might be an encouragement to him. It might be encouragement to somebody else.
Yes, sir.
We have to start to learn that everybody who we see on Facebook, who we see that is doing things, they don't always tell what they've been through. We just see the positive things. We don't see how they had to grind it out, how they had to get up in the morning, how they had to, come through near death. They just see the positive. Bruce has put his life out there on the jeopardy for the women that is saying that, hey, there ain't no good brothers. Well, here we see that a man, not only was he concerned about his son, he went through the process of making sure that he was doing the right thing, regardless of what his situation was. It wasn't always idealistic, right? Then not only did he do that, he went back and gave back to the school system. And not only did he do that, he's trying to inspire a whole nation through his acting and playwriting. Didn't y'all hear? Wasn't that a great speech that he gave us? Just a little bit of about what he went through. So today we celebrate you, Bruce. Today we look up to you. Today we applaud you. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for always grinding. Thank you for calling me up and saying,
hey, I got to give you something to tell you. And I'm going to tell you how we hooked back up. I'm going to tell the people this. I was coming from rehearsal, or it was a Wednesday, and I was listening. I went on YouTube or something was on, and I seen you talking about the Deion Sanders factor in Colorado. And everybody's been talking about it, but I never heard it from your perspective the way you put it. And yeah, you've been a good friend of mine, and yeah, I'm going to tell you, man, good luck. But I had to call you. I said, hey, look, man, that show you put on, I can tell research, I can tell dedication, I can tell hard work. And that's what I heard in your show. You kept coming. You kept coming. I told you this. I went into the gas station. I put you on pause. I didn't want to miss none of it. I didn't want to do the push the button and go back. I put you on pause, pump my gas. As soon as I got back comfortable in the car, I pushed unpause and listened to you the rest of the way. So, hey, man, you get your flowers, you get your roses. You didn't even know you with that other fraternity. We ain't gonna say we're gonna give it up to you too, my man.
Okay. Hey, listen, every time I bring another fraternity on here, they're always coming over here trying to take over my show.
Hey, man,
this is my show.
Still cool with me, man, regardless. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, once again, ladies and gentlemen, the Calvary's not coming. The creek is rolled. The levee is given away. It's up to us to save us. Next week, we're going to try to hit us on on Tuesday and Wednesday. I know we have been missing it, but we want to come back. We want to come back strong. We're going to have some business stuff that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the real estate market next week. We're going to be talking about what's going on over there across seas. And what does that mean? A lot of people have been asking me, Cepeda, what is your take on this? You got to speak on it. So next week, we're going to give a special show that's dealing with what is going on overseas. And then the following day, I'm going to come back. I'm thinking we're going to start a series that's going to talk about marriage, relationships, love, and money.
Yeah.
Marriage, relationships, love, and money. Those are the things that we're going to talk about next week, because I want people to understand that as we start to transform into what we're ready to go into, the recession, we got to make sure that we have solid foundation, and we got to know what we're dealing with in our own community. Okay. Today we talked about Bruce. Bruce, I thank you. Come out and see the color purple next week. This coming weekend. If you don't have nothing planned, come out and see the color purple. I'm going to put the tickets on my website. You can be able to find them on Cepeda Jackson. Cepeda Jackson Facebook. Also, you'll be able to just inbox me, and I'll get you some tickets through Bruce. I won't charge anything for them. I'm not going to give them to you free. I'm going to give them what they gave them to me for. But so I can get you some tickets. I'll put you in contact with the people that can. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the color purple will be here this coming Saturday. It's 2 shows.
3 shows this weekend, 2 on Saturday, I believe, and 1 on Sunday. And those are this weekend and next following weekend.
Okay, so once again, ladies and gentlemen, the Calvary ain't coming. I might have one of those film producers on the show to give a little shout out. Give a little shout out next week.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Jackson can get some VIP tickets. Okay, see if we can get in there. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, bet on yourself. You don't always have to start at the top, because most of the time where you start is not where you finish, and where you finish is not where you started. So you can look at the glass half empty or half full. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the haters are going to hate. People are going to say what they're going to say. Bet on yourself. Know that you can do this. It's not always given to the swift. You got to think yourself into a situation where you can overcome anything. And if anybody tell you that you can't become anything that your mind is set to, you tell them to call me, because they're lying to you. They're lying to you and they're lying to me. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, the Calvary ain't coming. The creek is rolled. The levee is given way. It's up to you, the person in the mirror, the person who's in that skin, Bruce, that you can celebrate. That's the person who you got to believe in. Go to bed at night knowing that you did your best.
No doubt.
On yourself. Thank you, Bruce, for coming on the
Man,
show tonight. And we're going to have you back when your Color Purple's done. We're going to have you back on the show. Keep doing the good work for the curriculum. With everything that's being said, keep being a good dad, because that's mainly what we can do as men, to be a father to our sons.
No doubt.
That's the greatest gift that we can give this world, is be a good father to our sons, because you're definitely a good brother to me. even though you're in a different fraternity, you're still a good brother.
I ain't gonna hold that against
you. You're not a great brother, but you're a good brother.
And you still are, and the rest of them all right too.
All right, then. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, till next week. We'll be on the show next week. We're going to be talking about what's going on in the Middle East. We're going to talk about our economy. We're going to talk about love, relationships, marriage, and money. That's going to be a good one. Tune in next week. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Peace.